Listen closely, because this isn't just another tale carved into the stones of history. This is the story of Jord, a land scarred by war, betrayal, and ambition so sharp it could cut through steel. A land where power is measured in blood, and no one, not even the mighty, can escape its price. If you're not careful, this story will consume you, just as Jord consumes its own. Let me take you to the beginning, to a time when the land was ruled by the Titan, Rom. They call him a god king, a man whose every word carries the weight of life and death. He sits atop a fractured empire, holding together the provinces of Tarn and Kern with nothing but his iron will and the might of his two Praxists. Praxis Troius MarTulius of Tarn, a man of unwavering honor and strength, and Praxis Galen Val of Kern, a cunning and ambitious leader who hides his hunger for power behind a mask of loyalty. The balance between these provinces is precarious, and beneath it simmers a storm of hatred, ambition, and rebellion. At the edge of this storm lies the Holy Land, a barren wasteland where dishonored clans and outlaws scrape out a harsh existence. Among these exiles are the Borel, a clan known for their savagery and defiance. Though forgotten by many in Jord, their influence is about to reignite a fire that will engulf the entire land. Chapter 1. The son of Tarn Caius. MarTulius grew up in the shadow of greatness. As the son of Praxis Troius MarTulius, his childhood was filled with lessons in warfare, politics, and the heavy weight of responsibility. Troius was the embodiment of honor, a warrior and leader who believed in duty above all else. Caius admired his father, but often wondered if he would ever live up to the towering expectations placed upon him. It was during these early years that Caius first heard whispers of the Borel, tales of a dishonored clan driven mad by their exile. His father had dismissed them as little more than a nuisance, a thorn in the side of Kern. But Caius saw the shadows in his father's eyes when he spoke of them, as if he knew something darker lurked beneath their raids. And now, years later, the Borel had returned, this time not with whispers, but with blood. They launched a series of brutal incursions into Kern, torching villages and slaughtering anyone who stood in their way. The once stable province was thrown into chaos, and Praxis Val found himself outmatched. In desperation, he called upon Troius MarTulius for aid. Chapter 2. The Betrayal. Troius MarTulius was no fool. He knew Praxis Val's reputation for deception and political scheming, but he also knew that refusing the call would be seen as weakness, a risk he could not afford as Praxis of Tarn. Against his better judgment, Troius agreed to lead reinforcements into Kern, determined to restore order and protect the balance of power in Jord. Caius watched his father prepare for the campaign with a sense of unease. Something about this mission felt wrong, but Troius's resolve was unshakable. A leader does what must be done, his father told him before departing, even when the path is dark. But Troius never returned. When his forces arrived in Kern, they were met not by the Borel but by Val's own soldiers. It was an ambush, a calculated betrayal. Troius and his loyalists fought valiantly, but they were outnumbered and overwhelmed. In the end, Troius MarTulius fell, his blood staining the soil of Kern. Praxis Val, ever the manipulator, blamed the massacre on the Borel, using their reputation as savages to conceal his treachery. Chapter 3. The Aftermath. News of Troius's death shattered Caius. The man he had admired, the father he had loved, was gone, not at the hands of some noble enemy, but through a coward's betrayal. Grief quickly turned to anger, but with it came a crushing sense of helplessness. Caius was young, untested, and surrounded by those who would rather see him fail than rise to his father's legacy. The political landscape of Jord shifted overnight. With Troius gone, Praxis Val saw an opportunity to tighten his grip on power. he pushed for the appointment of Corpus Seldane, a loyal ally, as the new proxist of Tarn. It seemed inevitable that Val's influence would extend beyond Kern, leaving Caius with no path forward. But the Titan had other plans. Chapter 4. The Appointment. The council meeting to appoint the new proxist of Tarn was a spectacle of tension and manipulation. Praxis Val arrived with an air of confidence, certain that Corpus Seldane's appointment was a mere formality. Caius, grieving and uncertain, attended only out of duty. He had no expectation of being chosen. Yet, when Titan Rom spoke, his decision shocked everyone in the room. Caius MarTulius will take his father's place as proxist of Tarn. The chamber erupted into chaos. Val's fury was palpable, his carefully laid plans crumbling before his eyes. Corpus Seldane protested, but the Titan's word was final. Caius, for his part, was too stunned to speak. He hadn't asked for this. He wasn't ready for this. But ready or not, the mantle of leadership had been thrust upon him. "You have your father's strength," Titan Rom told him in private after the meeting, "and you will need it. The road ahead is dark." Chapter 5. Forbidden Love. Amid the chaos of his new role, Caius's heart remained bound to a dangerous secret. For years he had carried on a forbidden love affair with Andara Kell, the wife of Praxis Val. Their connection was undeniable, a bond forged in quiet moments away from the prying eyes of Jord's political elite. But with Caius now in a position of power, their love became even more perilous. Andara was torn. Her marriage to Val was a political arrangement, one that had cost her freedom, but secured her family's status. Yet her heart belonged to Caius, and the weight of their love pressed heavily upon her. She knew that if their affair were discovered, it would mean ruin for them both. Still, as Caius struggled to navigate his new role, Andara became his anchor. She urged him to honor his father's legacy and to fight against the forces that sought to destroy him. But her encouragement came with a warning. "Be careful, Caius. In this land, trust is a weapon, and love is a weakness." Chapter 6. The Fallout Praxis. Val wasted no time in plotting his revenge. Caius's appointment was a direct threat to his ambitions, and he knew that the young proxist's inexperience could be exploited. Val's allies whispered in the shadows, weaving plans to undermine Caius at every turn. For Caius, the challenges were overwhelming. He was expected to lead Tarn's military, so this is navigate the treacherous waters of Jord's politics, and prepare for the looming threat of the Borel, who remained unchecked in the Holy Land. And always there was the specter of his father's death, a wound that refused to heal. As the first part of this story closes, the stage is set for a storm unlike any Jord has ever seen. Caius MarTulius stands at the edge of a precipice, caught between the honor of his father's legacy and the ruthless reality of the world he's been thrust into. The tide is shifting, and Jord will never be the same. The question now is not whether Caius will rise to the challenge, but what it will cost him to do so.